Alright, so I'm fetching the code, reviewing the git log, and starting my morning with a nice merge conflict that's being resolved here. Compiling, and just realizing that, it doesn't actually compile, but, now it does because I made it compile. VS Code is a quite nice editor, but it doesn't really... It's not very stable, It doesn't really have that much robustness behind it, and it's just it has a nice kind of feel sometimes, but it has hung for me quite many times, and that pisses me off. And I don't know why it's hanging most of the time. With Emacs, sometimes I know it's hanging, but I know why it's hanging because I pressed a very heavy key binding. Here, I am, I believe I'm getting a lunch break. No, that's not even lunch yet. It's 8. So that wasn't a lunch break. That was getting coffee, I believe. Probably too short for coffee. I don't know what I was doing at that time. Something. Here, I am, let's see, what am I doing here? Oh, most of the time is spent compiling source code because it uses, C++ code takes a while. Not as long as Haskell code. Not as long as Haskell code, but it does take a while to compile C++ sometimes, specifically because of templating. Use of templated code can blow up compile times really badly. I try not to, but sometimes it's just really nice to have templated code because templated code is great. Sometimes, at least, for some reasons. Yeah. And also, you have the some of the features of C++ are nice. It's just that a lot of them blow up compile time, and you end up spending most of your time just waiting, and that's just really annoying. That's why I like Go. Go is really nice because it allows you to have the unit tests and build running in Git hooks, and you won't notice really, other than a 2-second delay on a big machine, and boom, you can just put all your unit tests in Git hooks. It's great. So there's a writable slice and a readable slice and an owned slice. An owned slice owns a container and allows you to obtain a readable slice or a writable slice of memory, and the writable slice of memory can be turned into a readable slice of memory, but not the other way around. Because once you go read-only, you can't really do anything to it anymore. And here I am porting the use of larp bufferT, which is our loose buffer slice thingy. We're porting that, removing parts of that I can, such that you can just pass in a const buffer by reference and copy that into the local scope instead of using this weird slice wrapper thingy ding. Continuing to do that effectively, porting the use of a local byte buffer instead of having a slice that you pass in by value, which is copied technically, so that gets weird. And that's the source of a few bugs. And I just opened up FL Studio because I wanted to see if I could do the dictation and recording of stuff while I was doing compiling, but I ended up closing it at the end. I am realizing that when I bumped the usage of C++ 14 standard to C++ 17, that enabled the string view code, which has a slightly different, which is always the best kind of different, slightly different behavior for some apparent reason. Or maybe my INI parser was just garbage, I don't know. This is me adding unit test cases to check all the spacing types with regards to parsing of an INI file. I believe that works now. I don't remember. It probably does. Reviewing the git diff, committing that, and realizing that it doesn't actually compile, and then making it compile and committing it again. Pushing it, and now I stand up and get lunch. I believe this is where I make myself a sandwich. Sandwiches are great. I like sandwiches. C++ is a nice language when you use it correctly, which is really hard sometimes because you want to do really crazy things, but you need to resist the temptation. Okay, now I'm back from lunch break. And I believe this is where more code happens, probably. So, you know, a lot of the time I spent is spent compiling code, and that's just really annoying. And here, VS Code crashes, so you gotta, you know, get stuff done like a man, a real man, and work with Emacs. So from now on, I'm just gonna be using Emacs in this video. Because VS Code crashes and hanged, and I don't know why. It's kind of a shady editor. I don't know why. Well, I do know why I use VS Code. VS Code is great for resolving merge conflicts, but Emacs is not as great. But I have muscle memory in Emacs anyways, and I have it set up the way I like it. VS Code, it's okay. But here I am fixing a few crashes that I noticed in the test network while I was running. Specifically with regards to shutting down and having it not shut down cleanly and having it crash because of a timer not being canceled. Well, actually, it was being fired when it's not supposed to be being fired. The timer should have been not rescheduled in the case it was being scheduled, so I changed that. And here I am adding a new function to the DHT buckets such that you have this unconditional update of a node where it will put the new value of the DHT bucket regardless of if it's updated or not, or existing or not. Like it just inserts it, boom, doesn't care. Which is important when you get a new router contact from a node because it has a new onion key that you need to propagate. So here I'm running the test network and it looks a bit more stable, and I'm still banging my head against the wall with regards to how to make it work again. This just pisses me off that this bug is taking so damn long to fix. It's been 3 days so far. I sound like a cranky old man. Jeez. Trying different methods of construction for the forwarded message, seeing if that's the problem. Of course, I should have run it in a unit test to test all these cases anyways, because that's probably the right way to do it. But you know, I'm stubborn with regards to that, so I didn't do that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Or stuff. And things like that. Or something.